Greetings, family. Islam, Shalom, Hotep, Ola, Aloha. This is your brother Zach Bay, Indigenous American Moor, coming to you live and in full effect. Thank you for joining me and tuning in. Please like, give me the thumbs up right down there, subscribe, share my content, or dislike. Just interact with my content. There's details right below. You can find out how to contact me directly via my email address or Instagram. Also, you can donate via PayPal or via my Cash App. The information is also in the details below. All right, let's get into it. More food for thought. Today's video, I want to speak a little bit about unclean foods and food products to avoid. All right, I've spoke on this a few times already. Hopefully you've already caught the videos and got that information. If not, I'm going to go into a little bit more detail at this moment. All right, I'm just going to go over a few unclean foods that that we shouldn't be eating, ingesting, putting into our bodies for various reasons. Also, some of the newer things that aren't mentioned in the books about, things that we shouldn't eat just health-wise to be a more healthy person and to increase our vibrations and, just stay all around healthy. All right. So I'm going to start off with sea creatures. Pretty much anything from the sea without fins or scales. So like crustaceans, oysters, clams, shellfish, things of that nature, eels, jellyfish, anything that you could pull from the ocean or from the sea, from water sources that don't have fins on it and that does not have scales, that we should not be eating. Next, creatures with webbed feet. That includes cats, dogs, species of ape, monkeys, frogs, amphibians, turtles, ducks, different waterfowls. Those are creatures we shouldn't be eating, because if you think about it, us as humans, we have webbed fingers and toes. Slightly, we're losing them, but we do have those. You can check it out. They're very, very slight on our hands and our feet, but we do have webbed appendages. I believe that goes into it. Also, slithering and creeping things. So like snakes, worms, different types of lizards, snails, slugs, things that creep and crawl, insects, bugs, things of that nature. Things that creep and crawl and slither. We should not be ingesting those things into our body. They are unclean. Going through a list of unclean foods, so they're on there. Rodents. We should not be eating rodents. We shouldn't be eating rabbits. They're in the rodent family. Rabbits are hares. No rats. No mice. Gerbils, hamsters, guinea pigs, any kind of rodent you can think of. We should not be ingesting those. They also have webbed appendages as well. But, just in a category by itself, rodents. We should not be ingesting rodents. It's unclean. I would say also swine, pork. That creature is you pretty much say it's like a bottom feeder. It eats almost anything. Now, they're unclean as food. As an animal, like living out in its natural environment, they're actually very, very clean. That's a little bit of information. They don't have sweat glands, so they wallow in mud in order to make like a shielding against UV ultraviolet rays, stuff like that. In a natural environment, they're very clean animals. So, just apart from it being a food source for us, swine, pork, pigs. We should not eat them. Another huge reason is, if you think about ballistic testing, when they want to see what type of trauma a certain ballistic round or shell or something like that, explosive, will likely have on human casualties, how it will affect the human body with direct contact and impact. They use pork carcasses because it pretty much mimics and imitates the exact effect that it would have on a human body. All right. I don't know if you ever seen the Ancient Warriors like battle show that used to come on the History Channel, or have you ever seen a show like Mythbusters back in the day? A lot of times they would use a pig carcass because it mimics the effects of human flesh. So if you think about the information that I'm giving you, pig meat, swine flesh is so much like human flesh that you almost cannot tell them apart. Now, there's certain medical procedures that they have where they can take like heart valves and different parts of organs from a pig and implant it inside of a human's body, and it will function to a certain degree, as like in a medical procedure. The flesh is so close to human flesh. Just think about it. How far would you be from eating a human, committing cannibalism, and you not knowing that you're actually committing cannibalism? You might think you're eating pork or something like that. It's so close. I'm not sure if it cooks exactly the same. I have no idea on that, but I know it mimics human flesh so much that you barely can tell the difference with ballistic testings and things of that nature. And I believe I've heard rumors that the taste is pretty much the same. Like pork and human flesh almost taste the same. So that's another thing to be very, very wary about. And that's why it is one of the unclean foods that you should not eat and ingest into your body. Besides the fact that all of these different creatures I've already said, if ingested, they lower your vibration. They lower your natural energies that your body produces. It just lowers your vibration altogether. So, you definitely want to avoid those. A few more things on the list. You want to avoid dairy. A lot of melanated people are lactose intolerant. So avoiding milk, cow's milk, cheese, stuff like that with dairy in it, try to get that out of your diet. You're lactose intolerant, most likely, because most melanated people are. You don't need it to create vitamin D, as you've been told. You can create that through having a few hours of sunlight or a few precious moments of sunlight when the sun first comes up, because there's certain rays like gamma rays and different UV rays that come out within like the first hour, I believe, the sun rises. So definitely you want to avoid those. Avoid GMOs. I said this in another video. Avoid GMO foods. GMOs stand for genetically modified organisms. That means farm-raised fish or farm-raised chickens, the cloned meat that they're coming out with now, the Popeye's chicken sandwich. Don't eat things like that. Processed foods. Avoid those things, foods that are heavily processed, that have to go through a process before it takes the shape that it is in. You mostly want to go with food that don't have to be processed. Organic foods, fruits, vegetables, fresh water. Make sure you're not drinking tap water because it has atrazine in it. That's a chemical. Look up the chemical called atrazine and what it does. Also, it has fluoride in it. Fluoride is very, very dangerous. Look up what fluoride is if you don't already know. Our tap water has it in there, along with chlorine and lead, trace amounts of lead. So avoid water from the faucet, tap water, not just drinking it. Be careful because you can also absorb it through the skin when you're showering, when you're washing your face, brushing your teeth, things of that nature. So figure out what fluoride is, figure out what atrazine is, do the research. You can look them up online. It's very, very easy. Do not have those in your diet. Eliminate them. That's something very easy that you can eliminate from your diet. You know, the tap water. I want to continue here. Soft metals, aluminum, phosphate, sulfates, different body products like deodorants and hairsprays and lotions have soft metals like aluminum inside of them. They put it inside pastry products. Read the ingredients on the back of the products you're eating. You know, look for things that have as few ingredients as possible. You know, it's very important. If you can't read the ingredient that's on the back of your food, you probably should not be eating it. You know, it's very simple. You can look up exactly what's inside of the food, exactly what that ingredient is. You can look it up, figure out what it is, and if you want to ingest that into your body. All right, I'm going to keep moving along here. Gelatin. Avoid gelatin. The gelatin are usually like casings or like an odorless, tasteless jelly substance that's made from animal byproducts. A lot of times it's made from pork byproducts. They put it inside of like gummy candies like Jolly Ranchers and Skittles, Lifesavers, the gummy ones, usually candies that are like gummies, gummy worms, gummy bears. It has gelatin in it, which is an animal byproduct, mostly made from pork. Watch out, certain jelly products have them in them, like I believe like Welch's jellies sometimes have like a gelatin or something in there, an enzyme that they add. It's on things like Doritos. They have like pork enzymes. So there's a wide list of things to avoid. Gelatin is definitely on the list of those things. Avoid gelatin because it's not good for you if you don't want to have pork in your diet. Or if you want to be vegan or vegetarian or something. Of course, you most likely already know to avoid gelatin anyways. But for people who don't know, it's inside of a lot of candies and things of that nature and jellies. So, you know, avoid that. Another thing is artificial colors. Avoid artificial colors and flavorings because most likely whatever they're saying that flavor is or the taste is and it's artificial, it's definitely not coming from the source. If it says it's cherry flavored or strawberry flavored, you know, it's definitely no traces of a cherry or strawberry in there whatsoever at all. So, you know, you can watch documentary movies like Hidden Colors. 5, I believe they speak heavily on like artificial flavorings and colorings. Yellow 5, Red 40, blue 10. Things like that. Try to avoid those. They also do things as like lowering sperm count. People have heard things about like how Mountain Dew can affect your sperm if you drink too much Mountain Dew. Word to the wise, it is the artificial colorings that are in there. It's a yellow 5 coloring that is in the original Mountain Dew that they say affects sperm count, and it's in so many more products, family. So if you worry about things like that, definitely cut that out of your diet. That's another one. All right, I already spoke about processed foods. I wanted to just talk a little bit about food testing and water testing. All right, about water testing, you can look online, your local water company, and actually see the scheduling when they actually do like their annual water tests. You can actually try to schedule a water testing if you think there's something wrong with the water in your area. You can actually call the water company and have them come out and test the water in your community. That's something every citizen can do. So, If you're worried about the water in your community, the purity of it, or lead levels, anything like that, it tastes funny. You twist off the little filter on the faucet and you see like there's little black chunks coming out or something like that. Most likely you know what I'm talking about. All right, you want to test something like that, you can easily schedule the water company to come test it. Or you can search online or certain like aquarium stores, even places like Home Depot, Lowe's, hardware stores. You can find water testing kits yourself, buy them, read the instructions, follow the instructions, figure out how to test the water yourself, your own water coming out of your faucet. And you can post those online for general information, public information. Food testing. A lot of different testing is done, like for foods. One of the things I would say right now that a lot of people are aware of are the Popeyes chicken sandwiches. Now, you might know that there was an episode of The Boondocks that came out years ago that pretty much went over this entire scenario on fast food chain giving out chicken deal or something like that, and people are going crazy for it. Literally going crazy for it. Now, this is just my personal opinion. It might be something in it. You might want to avoid that. I know I haven't eaten that chicken sandwich, and I will not be eating that chicken sandwich. It disappeared for a little while. It came back. A lot of people are talking about cloned meat, things of that nature. A lot of people believe that this is an experiment. They're getting a lot of free advertisement behind this. People just talking about it on social media and things of that nature in a positive way. People getting up and fighting, violence being caused over these chicken sandwiches. I would just avoid it. Me personally, it just doesn't seem like there's any really benefit to it. If you think it's good. Me personally, I usually get sick from fast food anyways, so I try to avoid it as much as I can. Lately, anyways, so I'm already very weary about new promotions and things of that's pushed to the mass majority of the public, especially a place like Popeyes. Pretty much anybody can afford it. It's not the highest quality of food. It's fast food, it's cheap, affordable, quick, that's what it's all about. So, I would personally avoid something like that, but I do believe that this might be some kind of test or experiment. There have been plenty of times where things have been tested on the general public without their knowledge. So, I think this might be one of those times. That's just my personal opinion. All right, we should all strive to actually be like vegans or vegetarians. No meat, 100% no meat. In order to have our vibrations as high as they could be, in order to be actually functioning in the 100% divine as we should be, we should not be ingesting any kind of animal into our body. It should just be fruits, vegetables, just the flesh of fruits. Of course, fresh water straight from the source. Those are the things that we will best function. Our bodies, our minds, our spirits will all function at 100% if we had diets like that. I'm not perfect. Nobody I know is perfect, but we're all out here striving for perfection, and we're all out here trying to live I believe most of us are trying to live in a divine way. And those who aren't, we know who they are. They're the enemy. So, we definitely have to do our duty and try to make sure the global consciousness and awareness stays in the vibration, stays high by putting positive energy out here and, keeping our mentalities pure and righteous, and spreading positivity and love and this information out here, and just helping out our fellow man. Because just because you do something in your life that's good can affect and help somebody else do something better in somebody else's life. And it's like the cycle continues. Like a lot of people think cycles can just like there are bad cycles. There's cycles of like negativity, or cycles of violence, cycles of abuse, but there's also cycles of love, cycles of kindredness, and the cycles of caring. And those cycles can build and revolve and continue. So we have to do our duty and make sure that we're, putting this positive energy out here, and we're doing good works and living righteously and trying to spread love out here. All right. I pretty much already spoke about the unclean foods, on how to stay away from swine, stay away from sea creatures that don't have fins or scales, any creatures with webbed feet, any creatures that creep, crawl, and slither, and rodents. One more piece of information I have about pork, because one of my loyal supporters actually wanted me to go into a little more detail about pork and why it's like unhealthy for you. I wanted to bring up a creature called the strigoi worm that is found inside of every single inch of pig, of swine. Now, these strigoi worms, once ingested, they can continue to live inside the body of whatever ingested. It can spread into your organs, into your cells, cell walls and membranes, and they can embed there, burrow there. They can grow and live as parasites, and then eventually cause blockages, cause mucus to build up, and eventually they can turn into cancers, and they can turn into tumors and things of that nature. So be very, very cautious of eating pork, regardless if it's cooked thoroughly and all the way through or not. No matter what, that worm, the strychnine worm, sorry about that, it's strigoi, the strychnine worm stays and it lives inside of swine flesh. Now, it's microscopic. This worm is probably the size of like a sperm cell, but it's all throughout the pig's flesh. So temperatures don't affect it at all. Cooking it, any kind of way of preparing it. If you eat it, it's going to be inside of your gut, and then it's going to eventually go inside of your intestines, and then it can, of course, get inside your cell walls, membranes, and things of that nature, and it can just wreak havoc through your body. You can start developing cancers and tumors and things of that nature, and having a poor diet and having those worms inside of your body, controlling your diet and controlling your cravings, like different parasites do things like that. They can control what type of cravings you get for, like, what type of foods, for like sweets and sugars, things of that nature. So it's very important to try to cleanse your body, try to keep your body as pure and as healthy as possible, eating fresh foods, fruits and vegetables. Stay away from unclean foods. Stay away from GMO foods. Stay away from soft metals. Stay away from processed foods. Do your best. None of us are perfect, but we can all do a little better to make sure we live that much longer out here. Because there's enough out here trying to kill us already. So we might as well take a few things off the list if we can that we're doing to ourselves. All praises to the Most High. Once again, this is your brother, Zach Bay, Indigenous American Moore. Thank you for rocking with me. I want to give you a little quote before I leave. Please bear with me. All right, I'm going to do 2 quotes today. Quote, "I can make peace or I can make war." End quote. And the second quote is, quote, "I am my brother's keeper." End quote. All right. Just wanted to put that positive information out there, that positive energy. Once again, this is Zach Bay, Indigenous American Moore. Peace. Shalom.